Yeah, her questioning is weird. So we'll start here and I'll move it a little bit and then we're just gonna watch the majority of it because until like this entire week, she's the one that I'm like, we had no idea this was happening.
Wow.
You were asked the question to describe the circumstance when you arrived at One Meadows. Is that right?
Yes.
And the answer that you gave was, quote, we pulled into it's a driveway. There's two cars and then two cars, then a single. So John's car is there. Karen pulls in and I pull in behind her. When we get out, and Karen is now showing us the back of the back of the car, saying, my taillight, do you think I hit him? Do you think I hit him? Oh my God, do you guys think I hit him? That was your testimony at the time, correct?
Yes.
And just to be clear, I'd like to take a look at a quick video that you may or may not have seen before. We'll find out. Your Honor, I'd like to have this. Actually, this has already been previously marked.
So she just said that we got to the house. Karen Reed got out and said, look at my taillight.
Can you pause? Do you recognize what's depicted in the video?
Yeah, that's when we arrived at John's house.
Okay. And who's the person with the plaid red pants?
That is Jen.
And who's the person that's just rounding the back of the car in front?
That is Karen.
What is the car in front?
That's Karen's SUV.
That's the Lexus SUV.
Yes, it is.
Behind that Lexus SUV, Ms. Roberts, is there another car?
That's my car.
And who's getting out of that car?
I am.
Okay. And this is the point that you were describing at least in the grand jury testimony at that time.
Yes.
This is the time that you're describing.
That I thought it was when we walked in.
I'm sorry, you
So
told who
wait.
this? You told who?
I thought they were all in the car together.
No. Me too. So this is where they get in the same
Why is this
car.
bitch in another car rolling up?
Because Karen was out driving looking for John. Calls Kerry. Kerry tells her to go home. She says, I'm by Jennifer McCabe's. She says, well, then pull into Jen's. So she goes into Jen's. Jen gets in her car and drives back. So Jen's driving.
Oh,
Karen's
okay.
passenger at this time because Karen's still drunk.
Lord.
And Kerry drives herself over.
Mhm.
So she meets up with him. By the way, until this moment, Jennifer and Kerry knew of each other, but we're not friends.
Yeah, I read a lot of that on Reddit.
She went to the grand jury, once again, ladies and gentlemen, and said, she showed me her taillight when we first got to her house. And here's the video footage of them arriving at the house.
This is the time that you were describing, right? When you arrive at the scene.
Yes.
Or, arrive at One Meadows.
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and play this through.
Makes me so mad.
Okay, you can stop it. And you can bring the lights up. You saw the interaction between all three of you and the vehicles, correct?
Yeah.
At any point, did anybody stop and take a look at the taillight or the rear end of the car?
Not when we were entering the house like I thought, but when we came out.
Okay. And there's no video of that.
I'm sorry?
There's no video of that.
No, I don't believe so.
Right. So the video that does exist describes nearly exactly the time that you testified that y'all stopped at the back of the taillight and Karen said, look, my taillight's broken. Oh my God, do you think I hit it?
Correct.
Okay. And that obviously was incorrect.
It was incorrect.
So your memory was faulty about that incident, that part of that incident at least.
It happened on the way out of the house.
So your memory was faulty about that part of the incident that you testified to at the grand jury.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
I think the grand jury element of this entire case should be appealed. Like,
Right?
I just have so many questions as to why. Now, there's a saying that a grand jury would indict a ham sandwich because, like, you don't need very much evidence.
Right. Also, the fact that the video is not there of them coming out. Whose video is this? Like, where
This
did
is
it come
John's.
from?
So the crazy thing is, anytime someone says this happened here and then there's video to prove it doesn't, it suddenly happens later and that video is missing.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
John's parents ended up, she called the DA, Kerry did,
Mhm.
after the crime and asked if the parents could replace this camera. Now, with a Ring camera, replacing the camera isn't the issue. It's a matter of the backups and stuff. I just find it
Right.
incredibly interesting that by the time it came time to prove everybody's statements and take possession of the video footage, some of it's just missing. So strange.
And my goodness, it has to be coincidental, right?
Mhm.
So weird.
Yeah, it's so strange. When we say in the last one, like there can only be so many coincidences before.
Yeah.
you-
Before it's just you going in and deleting all the freaking footage. Hello?
Mhm.
Lord. Karen Reed, she is
Does that
fucking
refresh your recollection that you were
over it.
interviewed on February 1st, 2022
I
by
would be too.
a trooper by the
I'm
name
over
of
it.
Connor
I'm not
Keefe
even involved.
and a trooper by the name of Kathleen Prince?
Yes. Did Connor Keefe write that report?
I'm sorry?
This is the point I texted you yesterday and I said I'm going through her testimony again and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Okay, I need to back this up. So,
Who is Con O'Keefe? Did I hear that
Connor
right?
Keefe is the name.
Oh, Connor
So
Keefe.
Connor
Okay.
Keefe, he's a firefighter. Knows her. Is her neighbor. They have sat on the same board in their neighborhoods. And one time she posted on the Facebook group, I need a fire truck, and he brought a fire truck. So know each other well. But this moment, even Alan Jackson is like, I wouldn't be shocked if later in the trial something comes up between Connor Keefe and her.
Yeah.
Because this is so weird. So what's happening leading up to this moment is she is playing dumb about everything he asks her. Do you remember this report? Do you remember this report? Do you remember this? No. In court, you can't just be like, you did this. You made this report on this date. You have to say, is this going to recall your memories? And they could be like, sure. She could outright say no, and he wouldn't pursue it. But she keeps saying yes. So he takes it up to her and gives her this report. And each time he does that, he has to ask permission. He says, Your Honor, may I approach? So that's why there's so much of that. But so he's getting the report. And she's like the last person that we're going to really go through her testimony because no one else really testified of note.
Okay. Yeah, we only want the drama here.
And a trooper by the name of Kathleen Prince.
Yes. Did Connor Keefe write that report?
I'm sorry?
Did Connor Keefe?
Would it refresh your recollection if you looked at a report?
Yes, please.
Someone on Reddit was like, I'm so tired of hearing about the Karen Reed case. I was like, I'm sure Karen Reed is tired of having this be a case.
Yeah.
If I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
I was watching the behavioral panel discuss her body language in the series that just
May I
came out.
approach?
Yes.
And they were like, she just looks like she's having to cope.
Yeah.
She looks like she hasn't been able to process.
2-page report, Ms. Roberts.
Yeah.
I put a little dot on the second page just to direct your attention to the discussion related to the taillight, if you want to take a look at that.
This woman's inability to just look at a report and know that it exists just drives me. She does this a lot in her testimony. The fact that they didn't cross-examine her last time just blows my mind because she was so unproblematic.
Wow.
And they get so much
Now
from
she
her.
a problem.
Now she's a problem.
Okay.
Okay. May I?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection that you were interviewed on February 1st, 2022 by a trooper by the name of Connor Keefe and a trooper by the name of Kathleen Prince?
Yes. Did Connor Keefe write that report?
I'm sorry?
Did Connor Keefe write that report?
Trooper Kathleen Prince wrote the report.
Okay.
Does that matter? No?
Nope.
Okay. Does that refresh your recollection that you did discuss the taillight at that time?
I know that seems so small, but I think in that moment he thought, somebody Google these people.
Right?
He was like, does it matter?
Right.
Do you trust it more if he wrote it?
Yeah.
Did y'all not get your story straight first?
Right. And
Yeah.
this is the judge asking him this. Or is it Kerry Roberts?
Kerry Roberts.
Oh, it's Kerry Roberts asking.
Yes. Who is Keefe's neighbor?
Oh.
Colin Keefe's neighbor.
I thought it was the judge.
No, it's Kerry Roberts.
Wow.
That's why he's even more like, I'm sorry, what?
Okay.
Did you think he wrote a report? I would love to know what he was thinking in that moment. Like, what next question? You know, questions popped up that he's like, I can't ask those because I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But in a TV murder trial, like in a fake one, he would have been down her throat. He
Yeah,
would have been
for
like,
real.
why? Yeah.
Yes.
And did you tell Trooper Prince and Trooper Keefe that you noticed the back right taillight in the middle, quote, in the middle, your words, was broken and a piece of the metal encasement was pushed forward?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't say that the taillight was completely shattered, correct?
Correct.
You didn't say that the entire lens was missing, correct?
Correct.
You said it was broken in the middle. Is that
Yes.
right? And then you described today that a square piece was missing.
Yes. That's the piece I was referring to in the middle.
Just in the middle of the taillight, though. That was how you described it.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to shift gears for a quick second and talk about
She seems annoyed.
Yeah.
She's like,
And I think she is. I think
mhm.
everyone's annoyed.
Did you, I think you just answered this, but I want to make sure I'm clear about it. You didn't take separate cars. You all went in the same car. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Did anybody stop by or go by 34 Fairview during that roundabout?
No.
Nobody stopped off at 34 Fairview either on the way or on the way back?
No.
This is after the incident. So she's with Jennifer McCabe and she's about to be interviewed by Sergeant Link. So that's what he's asking her was, did you guys stop by the house on the way there? Because what comes before this is she has her kids in the car. She has Jennifer McCabe's kids in the car. Jennifer McCabe is in the car, not Sergeant Link. Sergeant Keefe, the paramedic Colin Keefe. They are about to go to his house.
To be interviewed?
No, just to take their kids to hang out. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's what's happening in this situation is they are headed to his house.
I don't believe so. That wouldn't be the route in which to get to my house.
Right. Exactly. You indicated that you stayed, even though you were dropping off your daughter, you and Miss McCabe stayed at Sergeant Lank's house for some 45 minutes. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
And
Sergeant Link. And I had Sergeant Link written down. All these people freaking know each other. It doesn't matter who they are.
Everyone is intertwined.
Yeah, they're going to be at Sergeant Lank's house for 45 minutes.
Lank's wife, you indicated, was in the backseat of your car?
Yes.
Did y'all ever go inside the house?
Jen went in to go to the bathroom.
Jen goes in to go to the bathroom. Sergeant Lank's wife comes out and sits in their backseat and is talking to her.
That's weird.
Right?
That's weird.
Was Sergeant Lank there?
I don't know. I didn't go in.
You didn't have any communications with Sergeant Lank?
I'm sorry?
You didn't have any communications with Sergeant Lank himself, Mike Lank, on that trip?
No, I did not.
But you don't know whether or not Jen did?
I don't know whether or not Jen did. She went in the house to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Wow.
She didn't come out and say, saw him, told him this.
Yeah.
You've indicated that there have been occurrences in which Jennifer McCabe has asked you to contact the DA's office on her behalf to ask a question here or there, get some information, correct?
To Steve Nelson, yes.
Okay. How many times, just a number of times, volume, would you say that Ms. McCabe has asked you to reach out?
How many times do you think this woman's reached out to the DA's office?
Oh, I read a comment about this.
Like 50 some odd phone call, like long phone calls she's had with them.
Yeah. So somebody wrote, I put it on here because I was like, oh, that's really interesting. It said, I thought 50 times talking to the DA was excessive. Jen McCabe befriended Karen Roberts to keep her close, and nothing will change my mind about that.
No, you'll hear more. It's insane.
To the DA's office in one particular or another? On her behalf?
I don't think very many.
What does that mean? Of the 50 times that you've had
No,
communications?
maybe like 4, not many.
Okay. Well,
A 4?
we're going to just scoot just past that. And we're just going to let it play from here and just finish her out. We can skip if we hit some boring parts, but it's just the rest of this is going to blow your mind.
Text you back and say, call me right after.
I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry, I pushed it forward a little bit. What they're talking about is she's being interviewed by a cop. He shows up to her house.
Oh, okay.
And what happens is, in text messages, we will later learn that she texted her and said she was about to be interviewed. And then Jennifer McCabe says, call me right after.
Gotcha.
She doesn't remember.
During the course of that interview, when the incident was still pretty fresh in your mind, you indicated that at about 5 a.m. you got a call from Karen Reed indicating that John never came home and that she was worried, correct?
Correct.
You also indicated that she was worried that John may be walking and may have gotten hit by a plow. You relayed that to the officers.
Yes.
You indicated that you met up with Karen Reed and Jennifer McCabe at Jennifer McCabe's house, and Karen was hysterical and worried that something had happened to John.
Yes.
You also indicated that once you were at 34 Fairview, once y'all had made your way over to 34 Fairview, Karen saw John and ran to him, although you and Jennifer didn't see him initially, correct?
That's correct.
You said that Karen was repeating the phrase, is he dead, over and over. Is that right?
That is correct.
You also indicated that she said that if anything happened to John, she'd kill herself, correct?
That's what she said to me.
Object.
So the objection sustained.
So let me explain why that's sustained. You cannot have your own client's statements introduced by a third party. You can introduce other things, but you can't introduce your client's statements because your client has the right to get on the stand.
Okay.
So they can't get that in. He can't ask that question. Now, Brennan can ask that question and she can say it. She can say what Karen Reed said, but Karen Reed's lawyers cannot ask for that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you indicate at any time, I'm sorry, let me ask a different way. Did either of the troopers indicate to you after your initial interview that if there was anything further that you could recall that would be useful, please provide it? Please give it to at that time.
I don't know.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection to look at that January 29th report?
Sure.
Here, the details about what you told or what those two officers told you are not fresh in your mind, and nothing's refreshing your recollection about that.
Right.
Okay. But you do remember the basics of what I just described in that conversation with those two troopers.
I mean, they asked me what happened. I told them, but I was also in shock.
You never said during the course of that interview that my client called you at 5 o'clock in the morning, just hours earlier, and said he's dead and then hung up, correct?
No, I don't believe I said it at that point. I did not remember that until a couple of days later.
I see. And in fact,
No offense, but if you call me at 5 a.m. and tell me my best friend in the whole wide world is dead and then
Yeah.
hang up, that's probably what I'm going to remember.
Right.
when you were asked about that particular statement, I'm sorry, when you were asked about that particular series of events, that never came to your mind.
No,
That literally the first words out of Karen Reed's mouth, according to you now, is he's dead, and then hung up.
correct.
When you heard that, you didn't take that to mean that she killed him.
No,
Of course not. She was panicked, correct?
yes,
You did add that, I'm sorry, one other thing that you didn't add in your initial statement to Trooper Dunn and Trooper DeChico is anything about the taillight either, correct?
not,
Okay. And you also didn't say anything about any sort of a Google search or the praying that you talked about in the back of the patrol car, anything like that.
no,
You know what that tells me? Nobody thought he was hit.
Yeah.
Nobody thought. The paramedics said he had scratches on his arms in their reports. She's
Yeah.
being interviewed. She never tells anyone that anybody said he was dead. She never tells anybody that her taillight is broken. Even though there were weird things, nobody thought he got hit.
Right.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Nobody remembers anything. It's so fun.
The second time you were interviewed, that was the February 1st interview. That was with Kathleen Prince and Connor Keith, correct? And you just looked at that report, at least part of that report. Is that right?
Say it again?
Connor Keith and Kathleen Prince, that was on February 1st, 3 days after your initial statement, correct?
I don't remember the date, but I remember meeting with them.
This is part of why the trial takes so freaking long.
I want to make sure I get the
Nobody
dates
remembers
down, so
anything,
I'm sorry to belabor
Their
this.
memories are impeccable.
Yeah.
May I, Coach? Yes. Would refresh your recollection if you were looking at a report of that interview?
It might.
Oh, good Lord, lady.
First paragraph?
I guess if you show me a piece of paper with the date and my statement on it, I might remember that it happened.
Like, don't take my word for it because I have it right in front of my face, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if someone was questioning me, I'd be like,
Am I reading the whole thing or just the part where you dotted?
This is to refresh your recollection
Oh.
of the dates.
Oh, for the date, yes.
date, man.
May I,
Oh,
Coach?
my good
Yes.
Lord.
What date was it that you met with me?
February 1st.
So much work just to get her to say, yes, I'm married on
That
February
second
1st."
interview was conducted at 12 Country Lane, correct?
Yes.
And who again lives at 12 Country Lane?
Jennifer McCabe.
So the second time you told your
Shocker.
memory,
And the crowd goes
your story
wild.
to law enforcement, you were literally sitting in Jennifer McCabe's house.
Yes.
And you had met with Jennifer McCabe before your interview, correct?
Yes. We were putting a timeline together.
So you two were actually prepping, if that's a valid term, prepping for your interview, putting a timeline together, correct?
We were putting a timeline together at the request of Mrs. O'Keefe.
And Jennifer McCabe, was helping you with the timeline, and you were helping her with the timeline.
Yes, we were putting together the events of what had happened.
So she was helping you, and you were helping her, yes or no?
Yes.
This is the moment where this woman's testimony goes off the rails.
Oh, no.
Okay. So both of you were assisting in each other's memories, correct?
Yes.
I remember this, and you remember this, and okay, now I remember this, correct?
Yep.
Obviously, that would help influence your memory, going
Yes.
over the event with someone else, correct?
Yep.
So what's on that timeline, you would agree, is not completely independent, your memory. It's a combination of your memory and Jennifer McCabe's memory. Isn't that right?
Yes.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
I would love to see the behavioral panel read her, because a lot of what they talk about is like blink rate and breathing rate, and I can see her breathing rate increase here, and her blink rate increases too. Like, she's nervous about what she's about to get asked, but I will say her face, she might have had some Botox, because she is. I'd be like, what's happening? What are they gonna ask me? But I do also see a lot of. What'd you say?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I feel like my facial expressions are crazy.
I do see.
So the two of you drew out some sort of a timeline for you to follow during the course of that interview. Is that right?
For me to follow what?
During the course of that February 1st interview, as you were interviewed in Ms. McCabe's house. I mean, that was the purpose of the timeline, to help you with that interview?
No, that wasn't the purpose of the timeline.
You used it for that purpose, though, obviously.
We did not. I was at Jen's house making a timeline, and the two officers showed up to interview her. I just happened to be there.
Right. And when they interviewed you, did you have that timeline in front of you? That's my question.
No, I did not.
Okay. But you had just created it along with Jennifer McCabe.
Some of it.
Like, in that moment, I believe her.
And then it was after that that this timeline was coordinated between the two of you, that you actually told your second story to Trooper Prince. And when I say second story, I mean the second time you were interviewed on February 1st as opposed to January 29th. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you ever become aware of text messages that Jennifer McCabe was sending to others in a group chat talking about you in that interview?
No.
You were never told or became aware that she sent text messages to a group as she listened in on your interview?
No. I don't think she could listen in. She wasn't anywhere near me.
You weren't aware that or are you aware as you sit here that she sent a text message that said she's telling them everything, all the stuff?
Sustained.
Have you ever been provided a text message or told about a text message that perhaps Jennifer McCabe was sending to a group?
No.
Because it
Listening
does
to your
exist.
suggesting that she was listening to your interview?
No.
She looks genuinely shocked, and I think she in that moment was like,
The third time you told your story was later that night in a telephonic interview. Is that right? With Trooper Proctor?
I requested to speak to Trooper Proctor because I had remembered the very first time I spoke with Karen that morning, and I wanted to make sure it was recorded.
Okay, that wasn't my question. My question was, did you have another telephonic conversation with Trooper Proctor, yes or no?
You said that night, but it wasn't that night.
When was it?
I think it was earlier that day.
Okay. Meaning, but it was after the interview with Trooper Prince.
I don't think so.
I think it was beforehand.
I think it was beforehand.
You were still with Jennifer McCabe when that call took place, correct?
I was in her house. I was not with her. I stepped away to speak to him by myself.
In her home at 12 Country Lane.
Correct.
splitting hairs, ma'am.
Who else was with you other than Jennifer McCabe in the house?
Her sister was there writing down the timeline for
Who's
us.
that?
Her sister, Denise.
Denise? So she was scribing the timeline as you and Jennifer McCabe were creating
She
it?
was writing it down as we were remembering things.
Right. And the three of you were doing this together, sort of communally.
Yes.
She would say something, then you would say something, then it would spark something that she would say, and back and forth, correct?
Yes.
This is why trial sucks, because it takes them.
19,000 years. Someone was like, wow, they're talking about how they made a timeline, but who could be really great in filling in gaps in your timeline? Karen Reed. Why didn't anybody, get together with Karen Reed and get her opinion on the timeline? And because she was the one that was with John O'Keefe most of the
Together,
night.
sort of
Yeah.
communally.
Yes.
She would say something, then you would say something, then it would spark something that she would say, and back and forth, correct?
Yes.
Put your hands in the air.
How is it
wave
that
like
Trooper
this
Proctor
in
got a
the
hold
air.
of you? Did you call him or did he call you?
I think he was on the phone with Jen, and I asked to speak to him.
So Trooper Proctor
We weren't
got a
together.
hold of you through talking to Jen McCabe.
Well, I asked to speak to him. But yes,
Right. Was that interview recorded, to your knowledge?
I don't know.
The fourth time you met with police was February 2nd, the very next day, at about 12:08 p.m. Is that right?
I don't remember.
Do you remember
Lord, ma'am.
signing
He
a
has the
consent
document.
form for your phone?
In front of
Yes.
him.
Was that the next day after this interview with Trooper Prince and Trooper?
I don't know what day it was. It was,
And I just thought about that. Isn't that so strange that in all of this, they get together, Mrs. O'Keefe, Jen McCabe's sister, Kerry Roberts, all sit in a room for an entire day together. Phones, they're using each other's phones, they're being interviewed by different cops. And the next day, they walk into the police station and surrender their phones. Do you think they were asked to do that?
I don't know.
Or you think it was like, okay, we're finally at the point we have everything deleted,
For
even
sure.
video footage.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can go.
But is anything really deleted?
You can. And I would love to know if they went through video footage at John's house to make this timeline. Or maybe they forgot about it, because notice she doesn't correct her story until later on when the taillight thing comes up. So maybe they forgot about John's video footage until later down the road.
Of Karen Reed crashing into John's car.
No, she says Karen Reed tells her about the taillight. And like maybe they forgot John's video footage existed, so they didn't tell that part of the story till later because they didn't check his footage that day.
Right.
And then they checked it later on. She knew she had to work that into her story, so she calls them and tells them when, but didn't realize later somebody would delete that footage.
Right.
Yeah, wild.
right after Karen was arraigned for the first time. Jen and I met with them and both handed our phones over willingly.
So you just answered my question. So when you met with police, whatever the date was, it was a few days later, you met with police. You had a fourth time, you were still in the presence of Jennifer McCabe.
Didn't know
when
this
you met with
woman
police.
a week ago.
Yes.
And handed your
Yeah.
phone over, is that right?
Yes,
She handed her phone over, is that right?
yes,
And the two of you were together when you signed your consent forms, is that right?
yes.
A lot of
The
people
fifth
said
time
that
your
they
story
were
was
saying
in a
they were trauma
grand jury.
bonded.
Which, like, I believe,
Yeah.
but this is an extreme trauma bond.
Yeah. They also said that Jen McCabe, they believe that she's the puppet master. She's in charge of
for sure.
everything.
For sure.
Jury, is that right?
I don't know.
Do you remember testifying?
This bitch doesn't know anything.
Well, I don't think she understands, and this may be, she may have been prepped to do this, but every
That's
time
what
he
people were saying
says,
too.
you were interviewed by this person on this date at this time, he has that record in front of him.
Right.
So her being like, I don't know, fucking A, like, yes, you were, okay? He has documentation right in front of him. Just say yes. Did you test?
Yeah.
So then he has to back up. So that's why you hear him back up and say, okay,
Yeah.
do you remember testifying in front of the grand jury? So then he has to lay foundation, right? He has to get her to admit to that date before he can move on. So you'll hear him say, sorry to belabor this. Sorry to belabor. Ma'am, just admit that he's correct.
Yeah, I think that's the most annoying thing in the world.
Yes, because it makes it take so much longer. And honestly, if I'm in the jury, you're hiding something.
Yeah, and he seems a little annoyed that he has to keep going back.
Because this foundation is laid in prosecution when they are saying everything that happens, right? Like they lay out this, they have her lay out the story.
Right.
All defense needs is for you to back it up. Just say that this is the day you went to the grand jury. We already know you
Right.
testified there. Just help me with my timeline, please.
Yeah.
keeps getting worse, and she's so annoying. But yes,
That for a second. Before you testified at that grand jury, just physically, you were brought into an anteroom where you waited to be called by
this is where it gets wild.
ADA Adam Lowley, correct?
Yes.
Who was in that anteroom with you just before you gave your testimony?
My husband and Jen and Matt McCabe.
So Jennifer McCabe was with you
Wow.
yet again just before you gave
Yep.
official testimony under oath concerning this case and concerning the incident.
That's
Correct.
interesting.
Ms. Roberts, when was the last time you've spoken to Jennifer McCabe before you testified in this trial?
In this morning.
Did you discuss your testimony?
No.
There's no way.
So you and Ms.
Don't believe
McCabe,
you.
who became friends because of this incident,
Correct.
talked as recently as this morning before your testimony.
Correct.
And your
Wow.
testimony now is that you
Listen
did
to
not
that.
discuss anything about what you're doing here
No,
or what you're
I
going to
did
testify
not. She
to.
called to wish me good luck today.
She called her.
When did you talk to her the last time before this morning?
I don't know, maybe a couple of days ago. I don't remember.
Within days of you taking the stand yesterday, correct?
Yes.
I find that interesting. She didn't give a shit what she said on direct examination. But then the morning before she gets on cross, she calls her and says, "Good luck.
Yeah. And I'm sure
And don't forget to
said
say,"
more. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Last trial, they also all tried to claim they had never talked about their testimonies together. BS.
You know they all have a group chat.
Oh, for sure. Group chat, bar nights.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, is that the
Did
judge?
you ever?
She does that so. She just sounds so annoyed forever. This poor judge.
I'd be annoyed too. I'd be like, let's go.
Ms. Roberts, I'm going to ask you.
She looks like she's gonna fall asleep.
To take a
on the
look at.
stand.
Actually, let me ask it a different
Oh, I
way.
would, for sure.
Did you say that you did or did not recall texting with Jen McCabe during that January 29th interview with state police? Do you recall that or no?
No.
Okay.
During the interview, I didn't text anybody.
Okay. Are you saying you didn't text anybody or you don't recall?
I don't recall. I don't think I had I wouldn't be texting somebody if I was being interviewed by the state police.
Right.
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes
Would it
sense.
refresh your recollection to take a look at a report of text messages?
You okay
Sure.
if I show you the text
May I
messages you
approach
sent
Yes.
Wow.
when you weren't texting?
It blows my mind. It's like women. When women have a question or they ask their husband or boyfriend a question,
And they do this.
nine times out of 10, they already know the answer. They're just seeing if you're going to be honest. That's what this reminds me of.
Yes. Well, we can stop here and then we can kind of wrap it up. But he ends up being able to show, like, you talked to Jennifer McCabe every single time you were ever interviewed.
Wow.
And then comes the time where she is asked, did Karen tell Jennifer McCabe to Google how long to die in the snow or how long to be in the snow or whatever?
Yeah, the hypothermia.
Yes. She told the grand jury last time she heard Karen say that.
Yeah.
She admits today on the stand she does not. She never heard Karen say that. Jennifer McCabe told her. So she knew it happened.
Wow.
Not only that, Jennifer McCabe never actually told her how long to die in the snow. Jennifer McCabe told her that Karen Reed asked her to Google hypothermia.
Mm.
But we know that Jennifer McCabe at 2 a.m. Googled Haas Long to die in the snow
Yeah.
and then deleted it. So
Right.
the only way she would ever know that phrasing is if Jennifer McCabe told her that phrasing.
Yeah.
I did want to see if I can find like the very moment where she is getting off the stand.
Was she dumbfounded with the text messages? She knows they exist.
So they didn't
sent
ever
them.
show her the ones. They can't show her Jennifer McCabe's yet because they're technically not in. So she has not
Oh.
seen those. And so that's why he asked her if she was aware of them, because if she's aware of them, he can show them. But
Gotcha.
technically, if she says she's never seen them, never heard them, didn't know they existed, he can't bring them into evidence quite yet.
Okay.
Um,
Are they talking about the docuseries?
oh, they're playing some of it. Okay,
That's funny.
there's this one moment.
Yeah. End quote. Correct?
Correct.
That was your answer.
Yes.
Gosh darn it.
Did you lie?
I did not intentionally.
But you did.
And
Not intentionally.
okay, that's the end of
Understood
this.
the question, Mr. Jackson.
All right. Is there any other question, or is that it?
I didn't know what you just said.
I said I misunderstood the question, Mr. Jackson.
That's what you're saying now, correct?
That's what happened.
All right.
Can I ask one more question?
Okay.
In that quote, you said, at one point she asked her to Google hypothermia and how long. Then you corrected yourself and finished with Google hypothermia. What did you mean by how long? What were you about to say?
I don't recall.
I don't know. I've never heard that
Had
before.
someone told you something about a phrase that started with how long?
I don't
Related to
recall.
hypothermia?
I don't recall.
Like, for instance, how long to die in cold?
I don't recall.
Okay. All right, Ms. McKay. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I heard that Emily D. Baker was laughing hysterically
Yes.
when she called her.
She was.
Miss McKay.
There was clips I debated bringing into you of Emily D. Baker because she was dying. But yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and try and find that moment because I heard it was hilarious.
The other thing you need to go watch, because they didn't have it on Law and Crime, is day one when the trial actually starts. So Tuesday. And then they get into the ARCA witness stuff after the jury goes home for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was yelling. I was so stressed. And then it's funny because I was
Yeah,
like,
you were
why was I
talking
so
about that.
stressed? Well, I was listening back to Emily's coverage of it, and she's like, he's stressing me out. And I was like, that's how I felt. I was like
Oh
driving
my
home, like, why are they
gosh.
all yelling at each other? Yeah, so
Okay,
stay
so
tuned.
Emily D. Baker covered that one.
Yes, I can send
Okay.
you that timestamp, but it's on day one of trial, and it's like, she puts timestamps in her videos, so she'll tell you like ARCA witness updates or something, I think is the timestamp.
Okay.
Holy
I'll go
smokes,
back and watch
though.
that.
Yeah, this case. It's going to continue this
Yeah.
week. This was the biggest for me was Kerry, because
Right.
we didn't get any of her testimony last time
Yeah.
in Cross, and now we're learning like whole parts of her story were made up, like didn't exist until her fourth and fifth interviews.
Yeah.
No.
I'm excited for this trial, and I am praying that she is found not guilty,
Me too.
because I
Even-
really don't think this girl killed her boyfriend.
No. And even if, and this is firmly how I believe, even if Karen Reed had backed into her boyfriend and he died that night, I don't believe enough of this case was preserved
Yeah.
and done correctly that she should ever see jail for it. Like, yeah, if you commit a crime, you should go to jail if they do the right things to follow up. But I believe that
Right.
so much of this was damaged in a way we will never know the truth. That she
And my
should never
God.
see jail.
Was she so drunk that she wouldn't feel hitting somebody? I don't know.
I will say, and I still haven't watched the HBO series. I need to go do that today since I have time. But one thing, one video they show, she says, I have to wonder so much of this if it's my memory of that night or if it's what I'm remembering because somebody told me. And I think that's what these lawyers are realizing is these people don't actually remember.
Yeah.
They've been told for so long. And I think that's just the most insane thing is like, even the paramedic is like, he was wearing a coat. Bitch, no, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. But I remember everything else. Everything else.
It's like, do you though?
And it's like, oh yeah, I didn't actually hear her say that. But I definitely know it happened because Jen told me.
Yeah, and she's a very trustworthy person.
I would have never texted while I was on the phone with the police. Jennifer McCabe would have never texted. She wouldn't have been able to overhear me. Jennifer McCabe has never influenced my testimony. Calls me every day before I testify. No.
That's wild. And this happened in Jen McCabe's house, right? Or no? The Alberts.
No. The Alberts. But
So this makes
they're
me
related.
think that, I forgot about that.
I don't know if it's John Albert's wife. John Albert's wife is a sister of Jennifer McCabe. No?
I don't know. She said it's her sister-in-law, I think.
Here, insert family diagram here.
Seriously.
Yeah, I'll make one.
And there's so many people like intertwined in the case.
Yeah.
You almost have to have pictures and names and relation to who and like at all times because there's so many names being dropped all the time.
Well, and even that Colin Keefe, there's another
who the hell is
Colin
this?
Albert comes up in this case later. So it's like, oh, there's another Colin. I didn't even remember
Lord.
that from last trial. But
yeah. So we will be still covering this trial, but I think we will only cover things that are like new or insane.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for
everything else.
the rest of this trial.
Yeah. If you're watching, please let us know your thoughts because it's got me sweating at work. Sweating.
Yeah. I'm really bad at watching the trial because I just find it so boring.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine.
I need to find somebody that just puts all the interesting clips together.
Yeah. Well, Lawyer does that. So he streams every night and he goes over the things he thought were really important because he's a defense attorney.
That's what I need. I just need somebody to tell me what the interesting parts are. And I need somebody that's going to leave out all the boring shit. Like, can I come approach you so that you can have this paper? I don't need to hear that. Okay.
Well, I can also do better about doing that. It's hard because some parts like happen just in their responses to each other. So it's like, I want to leave out the papers, but I also want you to see how mad they get when it's like, oh yeah, I guess I got interviewed on this day. Thank you.
Yeah. And I get that.
But yeah, this was fun.
Lord.
Time to go be humans again.
Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Also, if you don't know, we are on YouTube.
Yep.
And you can watch us now if you prefer video, because I
do too.
I prefer watching people. I like to watch people's faces and reactions. And so if you're into that, definitely check out our YouTube.
One of the funniest things that happens in this is when the guy comes up to ask her more, the prosecutor, so direct examination, he redirects her. Instead of saying the word interviewed in one of his questions, he says, so when you were being influenced, I mean, crowd goes wild. Emily D. Baker lost her shit. She goes, I'm going to back that up. I'm back that. She was like, did he seriously just say that? Yep, he did.
Damn, that does not look good for them.
No, because they're getting to him too. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how much whiskey he had to drink that night, but
He went home and cried.
he did. He for sure did. Oh, poor Brennan.
Oh,
All right. Well,
man.
thank you for coming to our channel, podcast, wherever you're listening and listening to the case. We hope you enjoy the chaos and the company.
Yes, we do.